we'll call the June 13th, 2023 Pleasant Ridge City Commission meeting to order. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have roll call, please?
Siri says, hold on.
Commissioner Perry?
Here.
Commissioner Schmier?
Here.
Commissioner Budnick?
Here.
Commissioner Lenko?
Here.
Mayor Scott?
Present. Thank you. Here. All right. Well, just so that everybody knows, our city manager, Jim Bruckman, could not be here tonight. It could be that you have a question of great detail that we may have to take out of the meeting. But if something pops up, we'll take care of it for you. And with that, we'll move on to public discussion items that are not on the agenda. I think it's you, Ted.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Commission, staff, viewers. Ted Zachary, 68 Devonshire, and I have just a few items that I'd like to discuss. I had a random act of kindness that happened to me. Tringali was about to pick up the compost, and I was tending my pollinator garden, so I waved, good morning. And so I'm doing my stuff with the pollinator garden, and the person dumped the compost in the big truck, and he starts walking toward me. He hands me the bucket right to my hands. I was
That's
going,
nice.
wow, that's really nice, So I called up Tringali and I said, I'd like to pass a compliment. So they appreciated it. So
That's very cool.
that's one part that I wanted to say. So
Nice.
Random acts of kindness come back to you. And what I'm saying basically is if you're kind to the earth, it'll come back to you. One of the things I'd like to reinforce or for you to reconsider is the no, mow, and may. We have a long time to discuss it and somebody make a motion on it so that it gets into the rigor that it's okay to not mow your lawn in May. And you won't be fined or, citationed or warned or whatever you call it. And it's just a little bit, it's not going to, we have 1,000 households or so, not everybody's going to do it. There may be, maybe a dozen people might do that. So it's not going to be an overwhelming change, and it's going to be significant so that the people know, the residents know, that you are concerned about the environment and you're trying to do something. It's a beginning, small beginning. Doesn't cost anything. That's nice. I'm sure everybody likes that. And it's quieter, less gas, electricity used, and energy. Okay. So, it doesn't have to be right now. It could be soon. I would just love that. My little visual aid for today is about the Woodward Talk. On page 4,
Right.
Berkeley got a gold award for their leadership in protecting the environment. I don't know all the details, but I want to look into it more, find out what they did over there and share it with you. I think it's, I think I want to do this for our citizens.
Sure.
Thank you.
One of the other things that I'm working
By
on
the way,
too.
if you have any trouble getting detail, let me know, and I'll help find out what they submitted to receive the award.
Yeah. Thank you. Another thing that I'm working on too is about green burials, and there's a possibility. I don't know if I should mention it now. Just the possibility that we'll have a discussion more officially, like at Four Ridge with a little event about green burials. Like how much energy is used for a green burial versus cremation versus traditional. No visual aids on that.
No.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a couple of people in the room that might,
We may have some visuals for you.
right.
Okay, any questions? And thank you for your support.
No problem.
It's cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Ted?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Two quick follow-ups to Ted's points.
Yeah.
So first on the NOMO May, I think that it has a similar feel and spirit to what we did with the owl boxes for rat control, where we're using nature to help nature, and it is like a low cost kind of thing. So I don't know what it would take to keep that on the radar for next year. I mean, we would probably make a motion in April or March of next year. For
Right, I think we would time it, if we were to do something, we would time it ahead of the spring ridger so that we had a way to communicate it to everyone well ahead of May.
Okay. And curious, what would the mechanism be to kind of keep that on the radar?
Because we have an ordinance on the book that says, I believe, the lawn must be kept under 8 inches. We'd have to decide whether we want people to allow people to have their lawn over 8 inches. That could happen, or to just tell people that if you don't cut it, it should stay under 8 inches, or you might have to get out there and do something.
Sure.
And that would just be us bringing it back up again.
Okay.
So
all
we
right.
could just put it on our personal radar, and then I would say the very beginning of next year, ahead of the ridger, and we tend to finish writing that first ridger at the end of January, I think.
Awesome.
We'd want to come back to it.
So January, February, bring it up as discussion. And then another segue from Ted's talk about the random acts of kindness. And I don't know if this is more appropriate at the end for other business, but I think people watch the YouTube. It might be better up front. But Rebecca Fuller, as you know, we've been talking about putting the senior service program together from the grassroots. We had a meeting at the rec. There was a good turnout. Rebecca put together a flyer. At this point, we're growing it at the grassroots level, really just to have seniors who need help call her at this point. But as it grows, we'll establish a dedicated email box and policies and procedures around how to, I know that I help neighbors move couches and tables, and but try to formalize it and get it into a way that, if somebody may not have connections with lots of people, they can reach out to somebody and, changing a light bulb, moving a patio furniture, that kind of stuff. So if you don't mind, I'll give her phone number and,
And what I'd suggest doing is, once the email is set up, why don't we just make it an agenda item?
oh, that'd be great.
And
I'll
we
take
could
it.
do that any month.
Okay.
And just bring all the details.
Cool.
Yeah.
But at this point,
Yeah, sure.
the program, I would say, is officially open. Rebecca is the point person. There's a half dozen volunteers to help at this point, and she's quarterbacking it. Her number is 248-877-6921. Text or call. Again, that's 248-877-6921. And on her flyer, light yard work, simple tech issues, moving heavyish things, and a walking partner. So
Okay.
anything along those lines. The rec, it's something the rec used to manage. It's kind of gathering dust, so we're trying to just, from the grassroots, bring it back to life.
Sure. Thank you. Were there any other public items? Please.
Hi, I'm Deb Hemme from the Huntington Woods Library. I'm going to change the order and start with kindness. Our summer reading program has started, and there's the normal reading stuff that you can do and win prizes, and there's also a separate kindness challenge for each different age group, and you can do some very simple acts of kindness and get a little small token prize. So that's really very fun. My most exciting news is that we have just hired a part-time teen librarian. She's actually, her name is Jillian Demeter, and she actually lives in Pleasant Ridge. She's been working at the library as a clerk while she's been in library school. You may have also seen her at the Ferndale Library. She did an internship there. That'll be in the next month or so.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes,
if I
please.
could quickly. Actually, a question for Ted. Hey, Ted, I was curious what, as our local expert on all things environment, I read a couple articles saying that with NOMO May, you entice pollinators to come in as like this is a safe ground for them, and then after a few weeks, you end up mowing it down versus some wildflowers or some flowering plants that are in your yard for months at a time. So the articles I read were like, it seems like a good idea. It's almost like falsely enticing these pollinators to come in and then you just blast through after 4 weeks is up. And decimate their space. So I was just curious what.
Like,
Yeah,
I
what
could
your thoughts
answer
were.
part of that, and one part for sure. The reason why to delay the mowing is because there's bees and other insects in there that are just like hibernating, and if you mow it, then that's destroyed. It kills that. So if you wait, the bee can start flying away, and then you mow. So that saves the bee. That's one example that I could tell you.
Okay. Thank you.
The other part too is when the grass is so high, it seeds itself. So you don't have to buy seeds.
That's true.
Thank you.
That
Thanks,
is
Ted.
true.
Thanks, Ted. Were there any other items for public discussion? All right, we'll move on to liaison reports. Commissioner Perry with the
Thank
DDA.
you. Thank you, Mayor. The Planning Commission and DDA have not met since our last commission meeting, but they will be meeting on Monday, July 24th, 7 p.m. right here at City Hall. The Pleasant Ridge Streetscape project will soon begin along the east side of Woodward. The streetscape will be refreshed along the northbound Woodward in Pleasant Ridge, and a two-way cycle track will be constructed from Sylvan to 696 along Woodward and Main Street. Now, we have Tom Wilkinson is here tonight. He's the chair of the Downtown Development Authority and Planning Commission, and he has a little bit more information on some of this for us, too. Tom?
Thanks. As Ann said, I'm Tom Wilkinson, 130 Maple Field, Chair of the Planning Commission and the DDA, and there's several other Planning Commission and DDA folks here. So I guess I just wanted to say how excited we are. I think I could speak for all of us to see this project getting underway. You hate to say you're excited about construction in this day and age, but we've been working on this for a long time, and there have been a lot of great ideas put forward, and the city's worked very hard to the design and the funding and everything. And I just, I'm excited because I think it's going to make really nice functional and aesthetic improvements to what's probably the least attractive part of the streetscape in Woodward. I mean, you know, the cycle track gets a lot of attention. The people who don't like bicyclists are like, why are you doing that? But you're going to move the traffic a full lane further away from the front of the building. And if I'm a business in one of those buildings, or I'm just somebody using that street, I think that's a big win. A lot nicer landscaping, update the sidewalks, additional trees. Also, another good thing, I think, is to reconfigure a couple of the intersections so you've got a little bit better visibility, and should be hopefully easier for folks on the east side to get in and out of the neighborhood. So we're really, I think I can speak for all of us on the Planning Commission to DDA.
Yeah.
We're really excited this is finally going to happen. I think it'll be a nice improvement for the city as a whole and for the businesses and the residents in that part of Pleasant Ridge. So just thanks to the city for helping make this happen.
Well, it is cool. I've talked to a couple of the different business owners
Yeah.
along there, and one is really excited because he's wanted to add, like front patio type section,
Yeah.
and there's enough space, and so he's excited that this will be a little bit more buffered and everything so his clients can go out there and sort of sit and relax. And then the other ones, they realize, some of those, what are the trees? They're
I think, are they
locusts,
locusts, I think?
locust trees.
Yeah, the
And
little
he's
tiny
like-
leaves, yeah.
While they're sort of lovely and a little mature, he's like, they are messy
Yeah.
trees. So they're excited to have that whole
Yeah.
replacement
Yeah.
go on too. And then, like you said, the whole Devonshire intersection is going to be moved,
Yeah.
and that'll really help the visibility.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people worked and helped on the design and ideas and so forth, and I think it's coming together really well. So I would just ask everybody, let's tolerate the construction.
Yeah.
It'll be really nice when it's done, so,
Yeah,
okay, so
it will be
thanks.
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And then the Planning Commission will also be working on the upcoming city master plan. So that, they'll have that on their plates too. So again, the next meeting for the Planning Commission and DDA will be on Monday, July 24th at 7 p.m. right here at City Hall. So join us if you can. Thank you.
Thanks. Ann?
Sure.
Can I
Is there a layout of where these trees and all these buffers and everything? I thought there was gonna be one.
Sir, could you, sorry, just so that it's caught.
I was wondering if there's a layout of
Yes.
where these trees, where these buffers, and I thought there was gonna be a single lane of bikes going one way and a single lane of the bikes going the other way. I thought they were shrinking both sides for that purpose.
You might be confusing.
Yeah, there's a couple of, if you go on the city website,
Yeah.
there's like the detailed plan that's black and white, looks like a blueprint, and then there's some nice renderings of what
And
it will look like.
I think just to take a step back,
Yeah.
there are two projects happening at about the same time. We have the cycle track project that's happening
Yeah,
in
I
Ferndale.
just saw that in the newspaper. I knew nothing about that. I knew that
We
the.
discussed that with you, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
no, we knew that I knew that the bike track was gonna come back out onto Woodward there, but I didn't know we were gonna have some kind of a cycle
And then we
track,
have
and there's
the
$1
second
million and
part
$2
is,
million being
is-
spent on it.
And then we have the second part, which is north of Woodward Heights, heading towards
Yeah, I-
696, which is exactly.
Yeah, that's the bike track.
Yes, but
Oh,
there's,
it's just a continuation of it then.
So,
Oh,
so
It
what-
okay.
separates
well,
the bikes from the sidewalk, yeah.
So what we can do is I'm more than happy to just sit down and talk about what it is.
Okay, like I say, I
Again.
saw that and
Yeah.
I thought this was a continuation. I didn't know that we had to spend this money on top of what was already being done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
but we can, I'm sure Brett can also send you the links for the grants and everything we received for.
Oh, yeah, I read the paper, the article, you know, and I.
Right. So this is like the Pleasant Ridge streetscape. And then I think what you're probably referring to might be loosely named the Ferndale Road Diet. So they are two separate projects.
I just thought they were all related, so.
Two,
yeah.
yeah, two separate.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Commissioner Schmier, Historical Commission.
Okay, so this Saturday, 10 till 12, museum is open. As always, come check out your folder. Bring items for the folder. But more importantly, Pleasant Ridge then and now. 5 years in the making, 6 years? How?
It's now.
Yes, it is now. It is now. It is. It is now. It is awesome. So many residents and people contributed to the book. It really, really is wonderful and a great read and great pictures. You can now buy it $50 at City Hall while supplies last. We also will be selling them at future events and at the museum this Saturday, but you can always get it at City Hall. So it is great. And one last thing, if you want version 1, the one that was released in '82, come to, I think you probably have some City Hall, but if not, come to the museum on Saturday and you can get the original, the first version for free.
Nice.
And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Commissioner Budnick with the Recreation Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. So first, breakfast is what's for dinner, and that's on the pool deck. Thursday, June 15th, 5 to 8 p.m. Cost is $10 per person. Ages 2 and older, I would imagine, are free. Join in on the family fun, and this includes unlimited pancakes, a topping bar, sausage, and orange drinks. I wonder if that means mimosas. No guest passes allowed for this event. There is a paper shredding event sponsored by Sakura, Saturday, June 17th, and that goes on from 10 to 2 at the community center. Overflow parking lot welcomes the opportunity to partner with our communities to bring self-serve document shredding directly to residents. Residents in line by 2 p.m. will still be able to shred, so limit 2 banker boxes per household. Not sure what a banker box is, but 2 of those.
Yeah, it's a banker's box, you know.
Okay.
You probably had one.
Okay. I know it if I saw it.
Yeah.
You would.
Citywide campout is Saturday, June 24th from 4 to 10. It's 4 p.m. in the evening to Sunday, June 25th, 10 a.m. It's free to attend. You must pre-register, though, if you'd like to come. This includes swimming after dark, a hot dog dinner, crafts, campfires, and s'mores. So join in the fun. And this is sponsored by the PR Foundation very graciously. And I'll be there. looking forward to it. It's such a fun event. Little kiddos get to stay up a little later and watch movies, and it's a really cute time. So register if you're interested. Swim lessons at the PR pool. Registration is already underway, and session 1 is coming up quick, June 19th to the 22nd, and session 2 is June 26th to 29th. The City of Pleasant Ridge offers swim lessons for both residents and non-residents, and the lesson structure follows the American Red Cross levels 1 through 4. Sign up at the community center or online. Lessons are 1-week sessions, Monday through Thursday, with makeups on Friday. No lessons the week of 4th of July, and the cost is residents $55, non-residents $70 per session. It's 12 to 12:45, levels 1 through 4. That's the time, and then 11:30 to 12 for the parent-taught lessons. Tennis lessons. Keep going with the lessons here. Tennis lessons at Gainsborough Park is first. First serve summer classes. That's Wednesday, June 28th to August the 2nd, and that's $105. So take a look online for those. And the 50 and up club day trip, it's Murder in the Court. So Thursday, July 13th, 10:30 to 3 is Gentili's Hole in the Wall. Cost is $60, and that includes lunch and a show. Join, I think it's Genetti, Hole in the Wall Theater, Players for Lunch, and their newest original interactive comedy, Murder Mystery. Lunch is served family style. And shirts are still available. So if you're looking or interested in these awesome new PR shirts, see Kirsten or the lovely PR staff over here. They're behind the desk. They're black with a cool little sun. Yeah, they're really neat and available. Pick those up during City Hall open hours. And that is all I have.
That's a lot.
It always is.
There's a lot.
The rec department's busy.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, let's move on to governmental reports.
Nope.
Did I miss? Oh, Mr. Linko.
Sure.
Mr. Linko, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting schools.
Right, school's out for summer.
Yeah.
So thanks for your attention. No real big updates on the school front. 3 graduations went off excellently. Connected with Robert. So that was really the main update. As for the parents, students, and other people interested in the school district, reach out to me about what you want to hear during this segment. I tend to just report back what the school district's interested in reporting. There's a glut of information out there. The e-blast is a good thing to sign up for. Watching the school board meetings on YouTube is a good thing to do if you're interested in staying up to date. But seriously, reach out to me if there's something more I could be doing in this seat. That's kind of it. Oh, and then one more on Roosevelt. It's not really an update, but they are meeting. They're pulling together a meeting next week, which I'll be I'll be a fly on the wall attendee, and then they'll open it up to that community conversation. But they're pulling back together that original group to just kind of open up the conversation, and then once the facilities director is or facility super is up to speed, then we'll involve the community. So that's it.
Mayor?
Yes, please.
Is that that bond committee that sort of helped work on all of the different like redevelopment and stuff of the buildings?
So Robert didn't specify. He said the interested stakeholders from the last discussion.
Okay.
So it may be some of that group. My understanding is that like there are some of our residents who were involved last time who will be attending next week.
Interesting.
But no, it's not like I wasn't invited from the beginning. I asked for an invitation. Like this, they're really just trying to reboot the last conversation. But for context and background, I think it's important that I sit as a fly on the wall, right?
Yeah. No,
So-
definitely.
It's an interesting thing. The school district didn't actually have a way to reach out to community leaders. So they knew how to reach out to students and parents and teachers, but there was no email description or a place to just reach out to city commissioners or mayors or city council members or what have you. And the new communications director is trying to build that up a little bit. So Alex sits in for us at all of the meetings that he's invited to.
Yep, and Robert's the man. I like working with him. All right, that's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks. All right, governmental reports. Who's first?
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's happy to be here. Just a couple reminders. I know we've been pretty busy lately. We've had some carbon monoxide responses, and to me this is going to sound funny, but it's kind of encouraging that people had the detectors in their home to alert them. And so just a reminder for people to remember, you should have a smoke detector in every bedroom, every level of your house. If you're not sure where to put smoke detectors, let us know. We have resources we can give you. And carbon monoxide, I think when those first came out, a lot of people figured, oh, I need to have it just in my basement by my furnace and everything, but you really want them, it's really encouraged to have them in your bedrooms too, because during the day when you're moving around, you may notice that symptoms not feeling well, because carbon monoxide is colorless, odorless. I mean, you don't know it's there. And so if you're sleeping in your bedroom, you have nothing to alert you, that's when the biggest danger happens. So strongly encourage. And Pleasant Ridge is, our community. So you get all the services from us, and we do offer free smoke detectors. So if somebody has a home, you own your home, you need smoke detectors, or you're just not sure where you should put them, or you want a home fire safety inspection, contact us. We come out and do that for free, and we'll even install the smoke detectors. We don't have carbon monoxide detectors right now to install, but we can go over where those should be installed and information on that. Also going into summer, a lot of people are traveling, getting by water. We got pools and stuff. Remind people about safety with water. Really watch your kids. Little kids move fast as a grandma. And the 2.5-year-old really keeps me busy. Yeah, I have 3 grandkids with number 4 on the way. But they move quick. We had a close call recently, and thank goodness the parents pretty attentive, realized that as soon as the child, very quickly after the child went in the pool, took all the right actions, the child's life was saved, and the little girl's doing well. And that's what we want. We want those happy endings. We want to avoid that, but encourage everybody to learn CPR, learn safety, water safety, all that, and just really have a safe, great, happy summer. So, if you guys have any questions for me? And the construction, just be careful. I know we're having a lot of accidents and stuff on Woodward, and people get distracted as it is. Put down the distracted driving, the text message, everything else, and just pay attention. So, if you guys don't have any questions, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Something from police today?
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Last month was the distracted driving reminder from the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning. You recall we placed a banner out there. Well, we changed that banner May 22nd when it became the Click It or Ticket program, which ended June 4th. But we wanted to remind everybody about the importance of seatbelts, wearing them. Usually that annoying chime in the car reminds you to put it on, but also to make sure that children are properly seatbelted. A lot of people seatbelt their animals now to keep them safe as well. So you'll see that banner out there for a little bit, even though it ended, because I don't see a reason to take it down as of yet. It's a good reminder. Earlier this month, the governor passed a new motor vehicle code law, which amended using a electronic device in the car. That goes into effect June 30th. So now just holding a device and or using is a violation. So the police can stop you for that. And before, how you'd see people and you have to catch them physically texting or dialing or whatever, distracted. Well, they've now enhanced that, because even holding it in your hand takes away from your ability to safely operate a motor vehicle. So that goes into effect June 30th. So there'll be an emphasis on looking and watching for that, because as we've all seen and you've heard me talk about before, everybody you see out there is on their phone, whether they're walking down the sidewalk or riding a bike or in a car or whatever. So now that, as of June 30th, will be illegal unless there's some sidebars to that. If you have to use the phone to call a law enforcement officer or an ambulance or something of that nature. We recently had a person having a seizure in the car while they're driving, so they dialed 911, obviously. There are exceptions to that rule. They also passed a law that made it illegal for an unauthorized person from entering a school bus without the bus driver's permission. So if you want to walk your child onto the bus or there's an issue or something, you need the permission from the bus driver now. So they've enhanced that law as well. We've seen a rise in fraudulent activity, particular scams. We had several residents become the victim of scams where they've wired or sent money to people. In fact, I'll let Sergeant Reed is here at the meeting today. He's the bulldog investigator that you don't want after you. I'll let him come up and talk a little bit about that, unless anybody has questions.
No, thank you for the cell phone alert thing. You know what? I thought I had read one article about it, but I haven't heard that much. And
There's
we need to get that
an
one out.
update from the state police. We can get it
Okay.
posted to the website, which outlines everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll get that working on tomorrow.
That's great.
That way everybody
Many
can
of
be
us will
aware.
have to change our behaviors
Yes.
around to July 1st.
Yes.
I have a magnet. Get one
Mirror.
of those magnets. You just stick your phone on the magnet. You
Yeah.
can still see the direction and just stick it on there.
And if you have a newer car, I have an older car and a newer car. The older car doesn't connect, no Bluetooth, no anything, which is nice sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to actually pull over.
Yeah.
It's like being in the UP. There's no service. But those everything now on the phone is pretty much hands-free. So you're able to do that. And if it is that much where please pull over. We've all done where, it's just a second. You know, I've done it myself. Saying, I'm just going to text yes or something. You know, and then you blow through a stop sign or a red light or something with kids in the car or something like that. And only bad things can happen. So I'll let Sergeant Reed come up and talk about the scams.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we've had a number of identity thefts, scams, a bunch of stuff coming in. I can give you just a couple examples, but want to let everybody know, if you get an email that's suspicious and just doesn't seem right and there's something about it, come and talk to us. We're more than happy to talk to people, see what's going on. We had a resident, one today, received an email saying that they were from Norton Antivirus and that there was an issue and an invoice that needed to be corrected. And long story short, she went back and forth on the phone with the person. The person got remote access to their computer, was very convincing on a number of things, but got bank account stuff, and she wound up wiring some money, which the bank, asked the questions that they're supposed to ask, but the scammers had told her to say certain things that bypassed the bank's protocols. These people are very advanced. They know exactly what they need to do and to get that money. So if you have any questions at all, come see us. We'll answer those questions. Another one that we had, and I've spoken with this resident, it's the most advanced identity theft that I've ever encountered in 23 years here. And a lot of it couldn't even be prevented to begin with. They went online on the Secretary of State website, made an account for her, so she didn't know, because they made another email address that all the info went to that other account, then switched her address to another residence, waited 3 or 4 months, then asked for a duplicate license to be sent, and it went to that new address. So then they got the new address, and then they tried to start opening accounts because they had her ID, they could change the picture on it. Once that started, they made new email addresses, they had fake pay stubs in her name, they were opening accounts like crazy, or trying to open accounts like crazy. She found out about this, contacted the Secretary of State, contacted the credit bureaus. The scammer contacted the credit bureaus and reopened her credit as her, even though she had an alert on it. She put a PIN number on it. They sent in that license saying, no, I'm her, we need to reopen it, I don't know what my PIN is. I mean, this was just a continual thing. This
God.
poor resident was just going and going and going and always a step or two behind. I did multiple search warrants on that to get emails. And one thing that we found, if you weren't getting mail at your house all of a sudden, there's something wrong. Contact the post office.
Mm-hmm.
They were taking and forwarding mail to other addresses. We couldn't figure out at first how they knew when to go and pick up the mail at the addresses they were forwarding it to, because it's not their address that they're using. they were using informed delivery from the post office. So you can go online and the post office will take a scanned picture of the mail that's coming that day. So then they would know, hey, wait a minute, I can go to this address on this day and get my license that was supposed to show up in the mail. So just be careful. Certain things, check your credit report. That's the big one. Make sure at least once a year, check your credit report. If you aren't getting mail, contact the post office, see what's going on, why you aren't getting mail. And if you have any questions about any type of possible scam that you may get email-wise, call-wise, give us a call. Come on in, talk to us, show us what you have, and we'll try and guide you. Last one that I want to talk about. One of my friends is a detective over in Grosse Pointe, and I talked to him today about some things. And with the just explosion of AI, the old scam of calling and saying, Grandma or Grandpa, I'm in jail, has now taken a new twist, because if we have social media with our voices on it, they're now using AI to take your voice and call Grandma or Grandpa with, it's actually your voice saying what they want to say. So just one more thing for us to be aware of. So
Wow.
any problems or questions, we are always available. Give us a call.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I had to, it's funny, I had a telemarketer called me about a month ago, and we had a conversation for 3 minutes. At the end of the call, I said, "Are you human?" And they said, "No." So at least it was an honest robot. But yeah, we're at that point now where you just have to be vigilant. And I know for those of us with older parents, just make sure that they're checking their statements. Like if they have a credit card or a debit card or a phone or anything, check for weird phone calls. Check to make sure that they're looking for 99-cent charges on their Meijer card.
We
All
find this
those
with the
things.
older population. If you find out that anyone that you know needs to pay a bill with Apple gift cards, Amazon gift cards, there's some type of debt that's incurred allegedly that they need to pay this off, call us, talk to us. The United States Marshals do not need Apple gift cards so that you don't go to jail. We get that semi-regularly as
Yes.
well. So
In terms of credit reports, I will just say that obviously there's CreditWise, Credit Karma, all of those that you can sign up for free, but everyone also does annualcreditreport.com, that you get one free credit report a year, and it's a really, really detailed report, and it won't affect your credit score, and it's a very detailed report, so it's a good thing to do annually. But CreditWise, Credit Karma, all of those are great to just check in on monthly, honestly, and you get alerts if anything changes. So.
One more. I believe you can freeze your credit without having an incident. So if you're not actively buying
Correct.
a house or a boat or whatever,
Car.
it's probably prudent to freeze your credit and unfreeze it as needed, unless you are in need of opening lots of credit lines, etc. Like that might be a safe move. And then Brian Krebs and Steve Gibson are two good security researchers. If anybody's interested in looking, Krebs writes a blog, and Gibson's all over the place. But yeah, they're uber sophisticated these
Yes.
days.
And a lot of it's out of the country, and that's a lot of our problem, is when I'm doing these search warrants and getting emails and bank accounts and all kinds of stuff, it may originate here, but it's going overseas, and once it goes overseas, the FBI and Secret Service are only going to do so much if it hits a certain threshold, and a lot of times we don't hit those thresholds for them to become involved.
Yep.
So. All right. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. I think we will move on. Is that all of the government reports today? I think so. I think we'll move on to the consent agenda. Encourage everyone to just look at the packet and see what's there. May I have a motion?
Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenko,
Yes.
Commissioner Budnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmier,
Yes.
Mayor Scott.
Yes, the motion carries. Our next item on the agenda is Woodward Heights traffic calming. We'd made a decision in end of last year to move forward with some test cases and some long-term planning, and to ask Tool Design to come up with a design that we could implement along Woodward Heights. And if you read through the packet, you'll see what they've come up with. It's also available online on the website. It includes the notion of moving the parking from alternating from one side to the other side of the street, and also includes some measures to just keep people's attention on the road. We find that if you make things that people look at, if you give people things to really pay attention to, then they drive slower and they drive safer, and that's part of what the intention of the plan is. The goal would be to have this begin this year, so that we begin testing the system with the short-term solution that's in the packet. And if everything goes well, if we like the results, then we would move forward with the long-term solution that has more, concrete and all of the things that you just can't take out. Everything that you'll see this year are things,
Beautification.
and yeah, exactly. Everything that you'll see this year are everything to just test to make sure it makes sense. So, and that really came to us as a result of feedback that came from the neighborhood itself. Everyone was a little concerned about traffic, noise, all of these things. We've had a number of meetings over the last few years around this, and I'm very appreciative of the work that Tool Design did to come up with something that, at least I think, makes sense. We'll see, though. There might be things that have to be adjusted, but we got to test it and find out how it works. So what's in front of us today is to essentially accept the report that Tool Design gave us, and then we also need to send out a bid for contractors to do the temporary work, and that's what's on the table today. So if I could have a motion, and if you have any comments, we'll bring folks up if you'd like to make comments.
Great.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move the Woodward Heights design plan be received and that the release of a bid for construction of the short-term improvements be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any feedback before we?
Sherry Belton Sadler, 3 Woodward Heights. I've looked at the plans, and I'm having a hard time with, if I'm hearing you correctly, we're going to put bids out to do something that we're going to test that might need to be changed. So we're going to pay for something that the design that you paid them to do, one of them you already tested. You already put the chicane where they've said to put one. We've already tested that and it didn't work. So I'm confused with how that's going to be money well spent to get a bid on something that we've already tried and it didn't work.
So
And like one of the things, they're not up there for me to say. I looked at them all on there. The first proposed route, and I'm speaking on the east, west
The
end,
west side.
because that's me on the west side. Sorry, so on the west
translated,
end
no
of
worries.
the west end of Woodward Heights, because all of the things that they're talking about doing are going right in front of my driveway. Both of the options are going right in front of our driveway, which during the first traffic study that you did before we involved Tool Design, where we had the cameras up, they put in a chicane right in front of the electrical box that's right there on Joe's property. Right there, and it wasn't effective. It didn't do anything but cause more backup where we already have backup. And that's the first design that we paid Tool Design to do, something we've already tested. And then the alternate one is to shift the parking over and put a chicane right at my driveway and also an island right there. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to back out of my driveway if you do that. And then have parking in front of our house for the people that live in the apartment building that's across the street. So they're going to be crossing the street to get to their home and parking on our side of the street. It just doesn't make any sense. And then I'm hearing you say we're going to put a bid out to get them to put in the temporary stuff until we can come up with the money to do the permanent stuff. But we're going to pay somebody to put in something temporary that we've already tried. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
just to answer your questions, I'd say we've not actually tested the entire plan that they've just presented to us. And we want to make sure that it works. So in order to really answer all of the questions on east and west in the middle, and by the way, you're not the only person that had a question about how they get in and out of their driveway, so we want to make sure that that works. They've proposed as part of the design that there are these, and you've seen, I don't know that I've seen them around Detroit, but there are areas that you can drive over but are painted out to make the center islands that you can drive over. So you should be able to get in and out of your driveway, but I really want to see it and try it to make sure that everything is laid out properly before we go to a long-term solution. And it could be that one or two of the elements don't work the way that we think that they should, and we might have to make some adjustments. But all of this is as a result of having heard the entire length of the street make comments. So you haven't been unheard. We're going to try it, see what works, and then and go from there. But we really do think it's important to do the test and then get to the long-term solution.
Okay. And then I also add this one thing too. Would you put painted roadways on the west side?
Painted roadways.
Like
Yes.
painted chicanes, bright
Yeah.
red, yellow, green
Oh, yeah,
over on the
yes,
west
yeah.
side?
Yes,
Or is
absolutely.
that, because I see like nice islands and chicanes on the west side, and we're gonna throw up yellow pylons and yellow paint and green paint all over the roads on this side.
Okay, yeah.
It's not very aesthetically pleasing.
The long-term solution will be as aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Yeah. How is this going to reduce the traffic on Woodward Heights?
Sorry, could you give your name and address?
John
just for the
Wilk,
minute?
I'm on corner of Woodward and Woodward Heights. How is it going to reduce the traffic?
How's it going to reduce the traffic?
Yeah.
I think the overall goal is to make whatever traffic is there more calm, more quiet, and that's what we're hoping that it will do.
It still doesn't solve the problem of people wanting to go and get on southbound Woodward. That's what causes all the backups on Woodward Heights. And the only solution to that, and I mentioned it, many of you, is a light on the south end of Woodward, which would break up the traffic so that people can, just like it does for the west side, they can come across and then they can go northbound, but we have no ability to go southbound. So has any other thought been given to that, to a light? I mean, I was told there's no money, but there's money in the DDA that's recaptured every year, and those funds could be used for that, could it not?
You're speaking, if I may ask, you're speaking of a light on Woodward?
On Woodward,
Like
south. It's either. I mean, back by Oak Ridge,
MDOT.
somewhere down there. So it breaks that traffic so that people that are on Woodward Heights have a chance to get across. That's what causes the problem. People that want to get all the way across.
Right. There were several proposals that came out of the tool design work that would occur on Woodward, but would be a MDOT project, not necessarily a Pleasant Ridge project. And so that might be something that we discuss as we continue
Well,
discussing
I've talked
Woodward.
to Mr. Bruckman, and it is a M1. However, the city could do it, but it would have to be at your cost, can't you?
We
No.
actually can't do it.
You
It
can't
has to
do
be
it.
approved by MDOT.
And Jim did reach out to MDOT. I mean, it's
Okay.
not that it hasn't been a conversation.
Yeah.
I also just want to comment on, I think part of the goal here too is to make driving on Woodward Heights less pleasant so that people are not using it as a cut through. And I know throughout the process and talking to a lot of residents.
Well, I've heard that also.
But I also hear a lot from people, specifically on Woodward Heights, the narrative, whether and it's hard to know, but that the traffic calming on 9 Mile significantly pushed traffic over to Woodward Heights. So if that is in fact true, the goal really is to now make Woodward Heights not the alternative, to make it as unpleasant as, say, driving on 9 Mile or other streets. But again,
But as it was discussed before, it's just going to push it to Sylvan or another street. So
and that is what we are constantly going to be trying to manage.
Mm-hmm.
But to try to distribute,
go.
the traffic off of Woodward Heights to other places, so you're not
Well,
feeling the
it's-
brunt of it too.
As well, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. It's distributing, but it's also, it is calming the traffic because people, trucks and things like that will not be it's not a straight shot anymore. You're making it something that very much people have to change how they drive to drive down Woodward Heights.
I'll be
You
interested
want
to see
create a
what
road.
what the preliminary
And part
thing
of,
is.
part of the reason Tool suggested it is because this is something that has been tried successfully in other places. And we're gonna find
all
out.
over Ann Arbor right now.
And all over the country.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this has the effect that we hope it has on Woodward Heights. It's something I know I've had to tell everyone, just from the data that I am familiar with. Traffic is higher on every street.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And we're working to make it less of an issue here as much as possible. So to the folks that live on Sylvan, we're going to be eventually looking at your street. We've got several projects going this year, but it's something we're looking at. We know that everybody's traffic count is up because there are more people working from home. So that means they're at Trader Joe's at 11 when they didn't used to be. And
Right.
it's making everything more much more high than it used to be. So, as we say, it's not ignored. We're giving this a try for Woodward Heights.
Okay, I'd say keep asking the state. So,
sure.
because it is the solution to that issue
Yeah.
with the problem of everything backing up there. It is the solution, so.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Any other comments from here before we take a vote?
Sure. Mr. Mayor, I feel very confident that this traffic calming solution will have the positive effect and really help reduce the speeds. I think it's also really going to reduce the cut-through traffic, as well as make it uncomfortable for the trucks to sort of choose this as part of their daily path. And I believe this recommendation for the design for this, which is, it's the initial implementation that I think, the great thing is we can make adjustments if needed. It will be a little less convenient for all of us, everybody who lives there, everyone who drives down that road, but that's what we have to do to make the road better. To make a difference, we have to really make a change that you'll feel. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
It's contrary to how you might think about it, but I think it's as Katie has said, you have to build a little tension on the road to grab people's attention, to get them to drive slower, to get them to drive safer, and that's what these designs do. They have to pay attention.
Right.
The road itself becomes their attention, which is kind of what we want people to do.
Yeah.
We want to reduce accidents. We want them to really think about 25 miles per hour, all of these things. So hopefully it works as it has elsewhere.
Right. And with a stoplight, one of the things like on Sylvan and Oakland Park Boulevard, they can talk to you about that. A stoplight adds a fun new problem of people speeding to make the light. And that, while you feel like it'll get traffic through, that's more traffic that will want to go through there too, is another issue. So thank you. Sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up.
Sherry Belton Sadler. The stoplight they're talking about is on Woodward, like where the one
Correct.
at Maywood is, like probably should have never been put there since that road got shut off. It really needed to be further south beyond him. That, is it Maywood or what is it? Fairwood, sorry, Fairwood. Where Fairwood got shut off, that light was put there before the road was shut off, I think, and then it really serves no purpose being there now. If they're talking about a light like that, needs to be south on Woodward, like Oak Ridge,
We're talking
before
about
you
the
get
traffic
to.
light, correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
A traffic light,
Again,
not on Woodward Heights, but then the traffic that's backing up on Woodward Heights for hours on end would not, because they're waiting to get all the way across Woodward
Right.
Totally
to
get
do
it.
the turnaround.
Yeah.
So that's what he was talking about, but I just had a question.
Get it?
Isn't it illegal for trucks to be on Woodward Heights? Isn't there a sign right at the Ferndale Pleasant Ridge border that says no trucks? So if,
There's one right on the corner of
right,
Woodward and Woodward.
so there's not
Heights.
supposed to be trucks on there anyway, but we're doing traffic calming, like I keep hearing about trucks. Well, if it's
Right.
against the law for them to be on the road anyway, is that not enough to keep them? I mean, what do we do?
Evidently not.
Do we
No.
enforce that? Do we enforce it? Do we give tickets for trucks
we give
for the
tickets.
40
Of course
that are
they
coming
do.
on there every day?
We give tickets. Whenever there's an opportunity to give a ticket, we're giving tickets. But this is another one of these things about 2023. A lot of folks are on the road and navigating, not because of signs, but because of what Google is telling them to do.
Okay.
And it's hard to get people to really pay it. And this is part of the project as well, is just getting
Yeah.
people to pay attention, really think about the moment and not their phone. So all of these things are a part of what we're working on.
Well, I'm pretty sure the big rig drivers know that they're not supposed to be on that road. They
You would
just
think,
are
but
choosing to do so.
we are.
Well, and we're helping them make a different choice.
Yeah,
Right.
and that would be
Yeah.
the point, so that they,
So I just
so
wanted to
that they
make sure
don't.
that
Totally
it
get it.
was illegal for them to
Totally
be on
get
there.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Be interested to see how that works.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, we could charge them more.
Okay,
pay
thank
for
you.
the
No problem.
bid, like the
So
project.
are we going
Are we ready for a vote?
Bigger tickets.
I think we're ready for a vote. Thank you.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmier,
Yes.
Commissioner Budnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenko,
Yes.
Mayor Scott.
Yes, the motion carries. And now we're going on to, we've had a lot of fun topics tonight. We're going on to the budget. We had a thorough review of the budget in last month's meeting. This month, we're effectively approving all of the things that we've discussed. So, and also allowing for a public hearing. So if there's anything you'd like to say about the budget, I'll open a public hearing and then close it, and then we'll take the vote. So with that, I will open the public hearing at 8:30. Seeing no comments, public hearing closes. And now we're ready for a motion.
Your Honor, I got this one.
Birthday boy. Oh, I haven't mentioned it yet. It's his birthday. Go ahead.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I move the fiscal year 2024 combined city budgets be approved and that the budget resolution be adopted, including the levying of the following millage rates. 9.6885 general operating charter, 2.4841 general operating, 1.2766 general operating police pension, 0.2500 community promotion, 2.5438 infrastructure improvement, 0.1290 parks improvement, 1.4526 rubbish, 1.0784 pool operations, 0.3380 library, 0.9750 pool and recreation facility debt, and 1.6987 water infrastructure.
May I have a second?
I second.
Any thoughts or comments?
I wanted to just make a comment, if I may, Mayor. Number one, I wanted to thank everyone who came to our coffee with commissioners that we did last week. It was a budget discussion, so thank you, everyone who came. But also, I just want to make sure everyone's aware that if you ever do have any questions about the budget or about the millage rates or how any of it works, please reach out anytime. We do this annually, but we are here always to answer questions. It can be complicated, so please reach out anytime with questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please.
First, I wanted to thank the city manager, Jim Breckman, for one of the most interesting and I thought exciting budget item is there has been a 48% return over 8 years of the SCAF fund. That has allowed us to roll back the taxes and end the recreation millage a couple years early. And this also allowed us to build the pavilions, the pavilions at the pool and Gainsborough Park, as well as a couple other projects without using any taxpayer dollars. I think it's cool because this budget does really reflect the priorities, I think, of our residents in Pleasant Ridge. It reflects the uniqueness of this place and what attracts and retains neighbors. Participation and surveys show us what's important to residents, and I think this budget shows that the city really focuses on funding those different directions. So thank you.
Oh, you're
Thanks.
welcome. And yeah, just to add to that, we often get the comment during our reviews that our budgets are actually easy to read. Like, it's a strange thing, but if you read through
Yeah.
city budgets from other cities, you're going to get lost in a lot of cities. You just don't know where the money is. And I know we've done a lot of work over the last 9 years to make it clear where the money is. So if you ever have a question, I can probably tell you which line item to look at, which is scary to me that I can, but I can. And it's refreshing.
Mayor, real
Yeah.
quick, if I could, just touching back on the Woodward Heights stuff. I just wanted to say I appreciate John, Sherry, and the gang coming out. And we're committed as much as you are, and this is a learning experience, and it's not always going to be easy. I'm saying that, and I'm not seeing what you see on a daily basis. That said, we're all very committed, and I see this as a learning opportunity because as traffic changes, it's just dynamically different, and we could hopefully glean some insights from this that we can use on other streets too. And so bear with us. I'm totally committed, and I would imagine that the rest of us are, that we want to get this right. It's not as quick as we'd like it to be, but I think we're definitely going to get there. So I just wanted to add that.
Oh, yeah, please.
Thank you.
All right.
The budget looks great.
The budget looks great. All right, let's take a vote.
Commissioner Budnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenko,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmier,
Yes.
Mayor Scott.
Yes. And the motion carries. On to the next item, which is about Art Council. We were fortunate to receive 11 applications from residents for the Art Council, which we agreed to form. And for those of you that aren't aware, it is actually formed of all things from the money we've made from marijuana sales in Pleasant Ridge. So the best way to turn pot into something great is to use it to help people, to enrich the community and other communities around us. So I'm really excited that we found a good use for that money. And the 11 people that applied, I mean, the talent that came in is just amazing. I can't say that I'm surprised, but I will say that it was great to see that many people that are so entrenched in art around Metro Detroit give their time or offer their time to support our Art Council. And I think we're going to see some really great things from it as they form. There are 3 layers of members on the council. There are 3-year terms, 2-year terms, and 1-year terms. So we'll make a motion this evening to fill those 6 spots, and then our city manager is the 7th spot. And we'll see where it goes in the first year. I'm excited. And with that, I'll ask for a motion.
Mayor, I move to make the following appointments to the Pleasant Ridge Arts Council. Megan Jackson and Michael Ross to serve 1-year terms ending March 31st, 2024. Gregory Whitkop and Patrick Thompson to serve 2-year terms ending March 31st, 2025. And Doug McElroy and Chris Wolin to serve 3-year terms ending March 31st, 2026.
Second.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please.
So then those terms will all have, they can have the regular 2-year terms after those and things subsequently too. So, it'll be good.
They were staggered in order
Yes.
for the flow,
Yes.
right? So they're not all up at the same time.
Exactly.
And then also, I am really excited about this. We were talking about what a great additional way for people to be able to volunteer in the city. We have so many great, people who are volunteering, the clubs and organizations, the different commissions and councils, and, everything from the library board to, block clubs and the historical commission, the foundation. So it's real, and, and always the garden club this time of year, I like to always remember. But this will be a really fun way for some different folks who normally, they're coming at it from a different perspective. So it's really interesting. I think this will add a really cool conversation. And this is, like you were talking about the budget, it's really cool because it is using the marijuana tax funds. And then also the foundation is being very generous with helping, kickstart this whole thing. And, it's just using resources in a really smart way to, I think, enhance our lives here in Pleasant Ridge and our neighboring communities even just a little bit more. So it's kind of fun.
Yes.
And these folks are
it's
really,
amazing.
it was really hard. It was a very, very hard,
Yeah.
it's like it could have been any group. So any one of the 11, they were all wonderful.
Yeah,
It's a special city.
it is. Any other comments or?
No, I just wanted to reiterate that we had 11 great applications, so it was just a matter of trying to find the right combination, but all of them were really great, so thank you.
All right, let's take a vote.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Lenko?
Yes.
Commissioner Budnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmier?
Yes.
Mayor Scott?
Yes, the motion carries. All right, the next item is city manager's report. I should probably make up some stuff for Jim. Cupcakes for every household. Let's have a vote.
Acres 48's back.
I don't know. Was there any other business tonight from anyone?
Mayor, I just wanted to remind people of the concrete repair. If you are seeing holes in front of your house, it is because your sidewalk is being replaced. You can go to the city website and there is a map and it's color coded to let you know if your sidewalk is being replaced. There's also a green spot that's been on your sidewalk for a while. But FYI, that's what's happening. That's why you're seeing the holes on the sidewalk.
Thank you. And as I mentioned earlier, it's this guy's birthday this
yeah.
evening. I won't embarrass him by singing,
Thank you.
Can we?
but if you see him out around town, just wish him a happy birthday.
Dying tonight.
He's
Big,
fine.
big hug.
Dying.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn, please.
I move we adjourn.
All right. Seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are done. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Chris, happy birthday.